Welcome to Juggling 101. These are some juggling balls that I made very inexpensively and easily from latex balloons and birdseed. I'm going to post a link to those instructions. I love these because when they drop, they don't go anywhere, they don't bounce. There's one unfortunate thing though. When they drop, they get a little out of round, so sometimes you have to push them back into shape. Okay. Let's get started. The first step, of course, is to learn how to toss correctly. So we're going to start with one ball. And we're going to toss it from hand to hand. Most people, when they start out juggling, assume that it's sort of a wide arc that you want to toss the ball in, when in fact it's more of a triangular shape. The ball peaks and drops, not perfectly straight down, but it's definitely like a mountain shape rather than a nice round arc like this. Okay, so you want to think about that. There are a couple of things I want to mention first, and that is that inevitably when people start out with two balls, you'll see this, which is really tossing one and handing the other off, tossing one and handing the other off, and that's not what we want to do, so you want to try and correct yourself if you're doing that. Once you have that first toss down, you're ready to start with two. And the thing about juggling two balls, which just consists of throwing one up and then the other and catching both, you got to know when to throw the second ball. And actually the second ball is tossed as soon as the first ball peaks and is about to fall. So I'm going to toss it now, and I think it's helpful to say a word like now to remind yourself when to toss, or maybe you say toss. When you see that ball up there just about to peak, you toss the other one. So toss, toss. So you can speak to yourself while you're doing this or not, do it in your head. But you want to time it correctly so that when the first ball is about to drop, the second one leaves your hand, so that it's empty to catch the second ball. So once you've done this without dropping, say 5 times, you're ready to move on to the next step. When we only have 2 balls, we've got to pause after that second toss. You've got to stop, do it again. Adding the third ball eliminates that pause, and you get a fluid, which is called cascade juggle. That's the juggling pattern we're learning right now. It's the most basic. So I'm going to toss, 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 toss. And I just keep tossing the ball from one hand as soon as I see the other ball about to drop. Now that's going to take a while to master. I usually tell children that they should expect to drop the ball at least 100 times before they can do one fluid juggle. But you just keep at it, and once you're there, you're there. Every time you drop the ball, you're that much closer. If you want to count them down, you can start counting them down. 99, 98, 97. I don't recommend using bouncy balls for this. There are professional bean bags that are great, and when they fall, they don't have to be smushed back into shape. So you can try those if you like. Once you get that down, you can get started with some tricks. Okay, really basic, more simple 3-ball tricks. Again, this is the basic cascade juggle, and you want to get proficient at it so that you can juggle pretty close and you can juggle pretty high so that you have some control over the ball. Okay, remember we talked about that wide arc that people like to toss that first ball with, the first time they get their hands on a juggling ball. Well, we can make that work for us in a trick. And I will show you how that's done with a yellow ball. Basic toss for juggling is more of a triangle or a mountainous shape. Right? Once you keep your eye on the yellow ball, Now I'm going to make a big arc around both two balls. So for my yellow ball, I'm not going to toss it this way, which is traditional. I'm going to put it up over the top in a wide arc, and I can go back and forth. Or I can just toss every ball to the right, my right, or every ball to the left. I can also toss every ball, what I like to think of it is from the outside in. So when I'm juggling, I'm doing it from the inside out. I'm tossing from the inside out. I can toss every ball from the outside in. And then go back to just tossing one from the outside in, back and forth. So you can really mix this up, and it's just one simple toss that combines to make a bunch of tricks. Trick number 2, columns. So, I learned to juggle when I was a kid, and I used to practice a lot with 2 in each hand so that I could work on my ambidexterity. So, this is called columns. This is a pattern. You see the balls, they go straight up and down. Rather than in a circular pattern, I believe this is called a shower pattern. So this is columns, call this a shower. Well, I wanted to become equally good at both, and I would practice. And I would practice doing things like standing up and sitting down while I was juggling a 3-ball toss, or reaching down and picking up a book while I was juggling 2 balls in each hand, so that I got really good at it and I developed a lot of control. All right, so this trick will help you with a 3-ball trick. So once you have columns down, at least with your dominant hand, you need a pretty good amount of control over it for this trick. This one's pretty simple. Then you can progress to this, and you can even cross them if you want. Okay? So those are 3 things you can do with just this real simple columns thing. In addition, if you do have balls that bounce, you can bounce them off your knee. You can toss the balls under your leg, over the back. That's one really flashy way to get started with a juggle. Throw it up in the air and see how many times you can spin around before you catch it. What else? And then there are some more advanced tricks beyond the ones I just showed you. And there's lots of great juggling books out there that illustrate them, as well as videos. Okay. Let's move on to 4 balls. So I have fairly small hands, and so when it comes to juggling 4, I use a slightly smaller ball. I also use a smaller ball when I'm teaching children to juggle 3. The ball that's yellow is the size I was just using to juggle 3, and then the orange ball is the size that I'm going to use for 4. Okay, juggling 4 is not true juggling in the sense that you can do a cascade pattern that we were just doing with 3 and make the balls really interact that way. Juggling with 4 is actually juggling 2 in each hand simultaneously. And you can do that in an offset syncopated fashion like this. Here I'm just doing 2 showers, or I can make them into columns, or I can juggle them simultaneously in the shower pattern or the column pattern. Push things up over the top. But that'll take a little while. Alright, y'all, get juggling now.